Okay, announcements. July 16, 2020, board meeting, 6:30 PM, the Fairfield High School Catherine D. Milligan Community Room. And July 16, 2020 is Mrs. O'Neill's next student achievement presentation. I didn't want to just have one announcement, 'cause I know she wants more than one thing on there.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Okay, board member comments. We will start with Mrs. Shorter.
All right. I just wanted to say thanks to Billy for putting everything together. I appreciate everything that you're doing. Trust and believe that I have confidence in everything that you do. I do have my concerns. So thanks, board, for letting me express those. I don't mean to get on a soapbox, but I do feel very passionately about this. And I do just want to say that I miss you guys, and I'm looking forward to getting back together with you. I mean, it's definitely been hard. And not seeing your coworkers on a daily basis, and not seeing your board members, your friends, and family members, and it's gonna come together. We're gonna get back together, and it's gonna happen. I'm just gonna stay positive about that. Thanks for everything that you're doing.
Thank you. Mrs. Gundrum?
I also just want to thank Mr. Smith and the rest of his administration for, being so proactive and trying to put together a plan without any guidance really from the state so far. I appreciate all your efforts and your flexibility in such a complicated situation.
Thank you, Mrs. Gundrum. Mrs. O'Neill?
As I said before, I'm excited to see. I feel like this is a step in the direction that I've been eager to see us moving. At least some of us are back in the space together. So I know these plans for the fall are not easy and require a lot on all of us, on every single team member involved in school, which is a lot of people. So I appreciate everybody's efforts to make the right choices for our students and trying to think through every scenario, which is impossible to do, and putting everyone's health at the forefront. And that's it. That's kind of rambling, but I just know that it takes so many people working on so many fronts, trying to do what's best for the kids. So I appreciate it, and I thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. O'Neill. Mr. Begley?
Yeah, I echo all those thoughts. I know that Mr. Smith and the staff is doing all they can, and to Mrs. O'Neill's points, safety is priority number one. And I would just encourage everyone to be patient and hang in there. And as he said tonight, he'll be as transparent as he can be. So when he has answers, we'll have answers. Encourage all the kids to have a wonderful summer and stay safe. And we hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Mr. Begley. I just want to mention that I want us to continue to pray for our community. Since our last board meeting, we lost a couple of students tragically, and please keep those families in your prayers. I do want to thank Mr. Smith and his leadership team for the presentation today. I'm sure lots of families were wanting to hear what you had to say. My own kids were asking me, and I'm like, I don't know. Why don't you watch on Facebook Live tonight? You never watch my meetings anyway, so it's a great opportunity for you to watch. So I do want to thank Mrs. Denise Hayes, who helped organize a community event in Fairfield Township last night with the local police department, the Fairfield Township Police Department, and Chief Chabali. It was a great event. The youth came out, got a chance to interact with the police department and, talk about, different scenarios. The police taught them how to react if you're pulled over by police, and questions to ask, and how to react. And I think it was a great event, and I want to thank her and I think there was another resident, and I'm sorry I forgot her name, but I know Mrs. Hayes was heavily involved with that, so I want to thank her. And also wanted to wish Mrs. Shorter a happy anniversary. She celebrated 20 years of wedding bliss. Is it today or yesterday, Mrs. Shorter?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Thank you.
So congratulations, and I know Mrs. O'Neill celebrated a birthday, and
I did.
so congratulations. And I want to thank you for joining in while on vacation. So
My
that's-
pleasure.
That's great, and wear more sunscreen.
I think I'm pretty good.
And on a serious note, I recently lost my father-in-law, and I want to thank the office staff, Mr. Smith and leadership team for sending a nice arrangement. Susan was touched by that, and I was too, and thank you. And thank you to the board members that reached out with support as well. It's much appreciated. At this time, there is a need to recess to executive session to discuss the employment of public employees, Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1, and collective bargaining, Ohio Revised Code 121.22G4. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to recess to executive session.
So moved?
Second.
I think that was Mrs. Shorter that seconded. Any questions or comments? I do not anticipate any action to follow executive session. Mrs. Lane, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Begley?
Yes.
Mrs. Shorter?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mrs. Gundrum?
Yes.
Mr. Birding?
Yes. Motion carries. We'll recess to executive session at 8:08 PM. Thank you all very much. Have a great night.